I spent 24 years in the parachute regiment. I got into the industry by chance. I answered an advertisement for ex-soldiers for a major feature film called Monuments Men, which was directed by George Clooney.
I'm to put a team together and do our best to protect buildings, bridges, and art before the Nazis destroy everything.
I was picked to be one of the core soldiers, and I was asked to do this scene where a jeep just drives up to a burning wreckage with wounded soldiers in. The wounded soldier was John Goodman. And I just said, well, you know, could I just make a suggestion, please? You know, it's D-Day +4, you wouldn't just drive right up, you'd stop short, survey the area just in case there's an ambush. And it's really as simple as that. It was the right place, right time. Didn't plan it, just said it, he liked it, and then it led on to other films. There's a lot of training that goes on depending on what type of film you're working on. So, you know, if I'm working on maybe a Napoleonic or, you know, a sort of Victorian era type film, not much, because it's muskets. And you don't want them looking too polished with those type because of the way the soldiers were taught at the time. If you're looking at more modern, for example, Strike Back, which I just come on, a lot of weapon handling, a lot of weapon training, safety goes into the training of those actors. It's very important, especially with automatic weapons. The weapons we use on set are actually live, real weapons that just have a blank firing attachment fitted inside the barrel itself, and they are very powerful, and the actual blanks can kill. So it's very important to train the actors to be safe, but also look like they've been using these weapons most of their life. You get the term Hollywood magazine, which seems to be this magazine that is a never-ending. But you know, and I've had it on productions as well, and obviously it's a learning curve for myself, and I've learned the ways around it. And what I simply tell actors to do is that if they, and actors get wound up by it as well, and what it tends to happen is they get cut out during the edit stage, and you know, the guys that are editing don't realise that, you know, oh yeah, that's a bit boring, so let's cut that bit out. So that's why you normally see a never-ending magazine. What I do is I tell the actors, look, you know, change a magazine during dialogue, either it be a combat magazine change or a tactical magazine change. That way, during the dialogue, it's less likely to be cut out. Military advising in the film industry is 60% research and, you know, remaining 40% your experiences in the army. You have to research, you know, because you can't pretend you know everything. So you have to look at the way the soldiers are trained, depending on what country they're from. So, for example, you know, if you're training, if you're representing some Russian soldier, he needs to handle his AK-47 as a Russian would handle it. You know, from cocking it, you know, he cocks it a different way to how a British soldier would cock his weapon. So what you find is, you know, if you, for example, in the private security sector, you'll see a lot of British guys with AK-47s, they cock them as they cock an SA-80, which isn't the correct way to do it. So I research, I've got a lot of contacts around the world to help me with, you know, I can ask a question if I need to make sure I can get guys as authentic as I can. And it's very important to try, you know, to achieve that for films. I am sometimes brought in before script is even put together, and I'll go to a thing like a writer's room, and I have a lot of writers. You'll have the producers and the showrunner, and then we start they're putting ideas together for the film, how the film is actually going to look on the screen. And my job really will to give them, for example, mission examples of how a mission may pan out, how the heroes could get from A to B, how could they break into, you know, this room, and how they're going to escape it once they're cornered.
Benji.
Ethan, where are you?
The Syndicate is real. A rogue nation trained to do what we do.
An anti-IMF.
And also I'll give them, you know, certain scenarios which really wouldn't happen. So, you know, just to try and cut out, you know, that sort of element. And then once they finish the script, I'll get given a script, and then I'll give notes and give them examples of how they could do, get A to B, and maybe cut that bit out because it's irrelevant, and put this in because it looks realistic. And then from there, I'll move on to training the actors, the extras, and the stunts for that film. And then I'll be on the director's shoulder for most of the shoot, and I'll be at the beck and call of the actors if they want to learn how to do something correctly, or if and they'll ask me, am I doing this right? And I'll always tell them, but I never give them too much praise. I don't want to big their egos up. If I give them too much praise, they get complacent. And so I have like a tier system. I have good, I have the dog's testicles, and then I have airborne. Not many people have reached airborne. The guys on strike back, because I could say they've done that, but I didn't tell them.
It's gonna be loud.
I've worked with, quite a few, from Brad Pitt.
I need you to rescue my man. Take the guns out.
Matt Damon's a really genuine guy to work with. Anthony Hopkins was probably the highlight for me, as he played a character in The Bridge Too Far, and I was working with him on the anniversary of that battle at that day. So that was quite a memorable experience. Best way, and I get asked a lot by many people, is to start at the bottom, which is as an extra, to learn from the grassroots up, to learn the etiquette, to learn how, and the system is very much like the system they'd be used to in the armed forces. There is a rank structure, there is etiquette, there's a time when you have to say things, and there's a time when you need to sit back and let it run. So yeah, to start as an extra is probably one of the best ways to actually learn about the industry, but don't expect just to get there just like that, because it is a long run, and it's something you have to work at. And there's also a bit of luck involved. Like myself, it was luck. I was in the right place at the right time.